This time on Kawaii-Fi Radio, Kawaii-Fi friend and voice actor Terence Try joins us in the studio. Terry, you are the guest of Anya.
Anya?
I am Anya now.
Anya.
Peanuts.
We remember the days before my anime list.
Kid, drill, anime, blue-haired guy, and
That's it.
That's it.
and then random 4chan boards, just kept typing it until I eventually found it.
And we talk about the impact Gurren Lagann had on many young otaku. Hey Aaron, how did it hurt you?
Ouch.
Show us on the emotionals chart where it hurt you.
Yes.
Ava launch!
Tetsuo! Kaneda!
Onii-chan?
It's over 9,000!
Nani?
Configure the language logic interface for Japanese.
Kawaii-Fi. Kawaii-Fi.
Kawaii-Fi Radio!
Konnichiwa and welcome. You tuned into Kawaii-Fi Radio, the podcast we dive into the world of anime, manga, and Japanese otaku culture. I've just blinded my co-host by turning on a light. I'm Kyle, and with me is Aaron. We have a special guest joining us all the way from the US of A, Terry, aka the Dry Guy.
Hello,
Hey.
it is I, the dry guy, and like my humor, it's very...
Wet.
Moist.
I almost chucked this at you. Almost.
Now, we've been planning to get Terry on for a while, but we haven't been able to We haven't been able to line up our calendars with flights, travel, and work. And it just so happens that you are in Perth this week, so that's what we're doing. And of course, because this is all a bromance, apparently, we are, of course, talking Gurren Lagann. There's no special reason other than we wanted to do it with the three of us at some point. Kenny would love to be here, but alas, he is ill. We don't know what it is. Hopefully, it is not the spicy cough again. But that does mean this episode we get to go deep down the rabbit hole of Gurren Lagann, Studio Trigger's origins, Gainax, The Bounce, and many other things that relate to those studios. Now, if you are new to the podcast, welcome. We have a YouTube channel. There's stuff on there. There's a video version of this podcast in case you're not watching us on there, where you can come and check us out. And there's a Patreon with additional stuff like outtakes and the pre-show, where this time we talked a lot about comics, manga, anime,
Power Rangers.
A lot of Power Rangers, actually. But before we do that, let's get started with something a little bit more... I don't know if I'd say it's more fun, but we usually do this. We're talking about what we're watching.
I have no idea how old I am or where I came from.
Nani? Ohayo!
Hang time! I gotta go!
I have to know. Hooray! I did the thing.
Oni-chan, nani wo miru? What we're watching.
That always makes me laugh.
We used to have somebody doing it properly, in the proper voice.
Yeah.
But then we kind of decided it'd be funnier.
This is funnier.
Yes.
It's much better. So, Terry, you are the guest of Anya.
Anya?
I am Anya now.
Anya.
Peanuts.
What have you been watching the past fortnight, other than obviously Gurren Lagann? I believe you've been going and staring into a certain saga.
Yes, so one of the things I've been watching recently, and I had watched it before, but I got a little bit nostalgic and decided to start watching Tanya, the Saga of Evil again. And it's because, one, it does not have a season 2. There's not much more information regarding it. And it's a part of the Isekai quartet that, everybody seems to quite enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's one of the ones where, the person gets reincarnated, but they're a little girl that just has a butt ton of energy and can just go off the wall with just fighting. And it's... But the...
I always thought it was just a butt ton of anger.
Yeah.
Well, if you imagine an atheist and imagine if they had magic and they said, no... you're stuck in here with me. You're stuck in here with me.
Malga from Overwatch?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, God.
Pretty much.
Okay, fair enough. So, for those who aren't aware of Tanya the Evil, what's the kind of concept around the story? You did say it's a isekai. So.
Yes. So the isekai basically revolves around a Japanese businessman who, it starts off, and I'm not going to go into too many spoilers, but the first episode literally starts off with a Japanese businessman laying somebody off. And so it's a very aggressive sort of layoff. The person's very emotional. And as the Japanese businessman is getting ready to go home, he gets pushed into a train by the person that he laid off. So, karma.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is he then gets a voice in his head that's basically God, or they call it being X. So they can't, so he kind of... Well, if it's Alien X, man, we played with the wrong person. Then it's bad. But he gets reincarnated into this world, this war-torn world where there's magic and guns with magic. And he basically gets blessed by being X to essentially... It's weird. It's almost like trying to turn an atheist into a believer. Huh. And what ends up happening is like he becomes a very OP kind of character. But the only way that it activates or he gets stronger or he can use this ability is basically by going against sort of his morals, which is I don't believe in, this higher being. I make my own path, but I have to use this ability to get where I need to be. So they say he says prayers, or Tanya, the body he gets reincarnated in, which is this little girl. he gets reincarnated into a little tiny baby girl. And then you think, so like maybe there's a time skip for like 5, 7, 9, 10, 11 years, something. And I think Tanya,
no,
it's like maybe 9, maybe 10, really young.
Jeez.
And yet has a body count higher than, dude.
A lot of people.
Yes.
Not higher than Chopper, though.
Yeah, no, well, true. But
not One Piece Chopper. We're talking Star Wars Clone Wars Chopper.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the old Australian criminal.
Rebels.
no,
no.
Uncle Chop.
Uncle Chopper. Chopper Reed. So, okay. Now, as you said, this hasn't had a second season, but the mangas, the light novels more correctly,
yes,
have continued.
So, interesting, I have not read the light novels. I have been meaning to. I've been kind of stuck on ReZero because it's just been... it's been so good. But that's another can of worms. But for those who have not seen it, but you have seen Isekai Quartet, please do watch Tanya, the Saga of Evil, because it goes very in-depth around the human mind and definitely around rationalism, pragmatism, things of that nature. And it's almost like you're not really watching the story around Tanya. You're watching the story around like how this war, these people... being X, how everything is just turning out. Tanya just happens to be that NPC character like in a Dark Souls-based game. It's the best way to put it. You're literally the player in a Dark Souls game playing as Tanya. It's the best way to put it.
Fair enough. Go watch.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron.
Yes.
The world does end with you, my friend.
Twelly.
So why are you rewatching The World Ends With You? Without any spoilers for upcoming projects of others, yada yada.
My partner needs to make a costume.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So I was like, hey, yeah, here's some background information on that thing that I love.
Definitely not going to force you to watch it at all.
No, not going to make you play the games, watch the anime, listen to the soundtrack nonstop. The soundtrack's so good. So, The World Ends With You. Technically Isekai, technically isn't a Kai.
Yeah, it's one of those weird kind of...
It's kind of in between it.
Yeah. So the main character, Neku, wakes up in Shibuya one day and he realizes he can't interact with anyone. Which, at first he didn't mind. And then he thought it was weird. And then these weird creatures started appearing.
This sounds like guns.
And he also noticed a timer on his hand. I think it was 30 minutes for the first one.
I believe so.
Yeah. So he's given 30 minutes to complete a mission, and then he finds that he struggles to do it alone. And this little girl comes out. She's like, hey, we can only do it as a team. And he's like, I don't want to. She's like, well, we have to, so suck it. And so basically they're stuck in this thing called the Reaper's game. And if you win the Reaper's game by surviving for the week, you get brought back to life.
So it's a death game, but you're already dead.
Yes. It's run by a bunch of Reapers in Shibuya. So there's a lot of fashion references, a lot of location references. The music's incredible. The style, just everything's very eye-catching and unique.
Yeah.
There's interesting characters, plot twists ahoy, because the first week takes them, 3 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing as well is, wasn't this, originally, a Game Boy Advance game?
Nintendo DS.
DS. There we go.
Yes. So originally you had to use the bottom screen to interact with all of the stuff, but they then ported it onto mobile phone and Switch. So they had to sort of figure out how to make all that work, which they did really well. The anime covers the main story very well, and then there's another game that comes after that hasn't been covered yet that takes place later in the future, where it turns out the game's still running despite everything that Yoshia may have done. Did that name trigger you a little?
Little. Just very slightly.
Yeah, he's the Kaoru of this. That is the best way to put it.
Yep, fair enough.
I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, it's been on the to-watch list for me for a while, and I do need to hit it up. But that's, probably going to take a backseat to some of the weird things I'm watching now.
Yeah.
Which would be?
Astronaut, which is airing this season. And I actually don't know where to start with this. So, first things first. The studio is Telecom Animation Film, which do Lupin the Third, Castle of God, Orange, and Don't Tease Me, Miss Nagatoro.
Really?
You love that one.
I do. But that's because I like my women tan. So, yeah. Look,
Terry.
Based. Based.
Look, I have a taste.
Spicy.
The art style feels like really old, like really old school. It looks almost like it's hand drawn and watercolored, and it's basically a story about a guy who he gets laid off. He's a really not well-known chef, but he's an up-and-coming chef. He's really good at what he does. He gets laid off and he sees an advertisement for this place called Astro Lodge. The name isn't actually Astro, it was something else, and one of the letters fell off, and then everyone just started calling it Astro Lodge. Go figure. And this is all set in Japan. And he goes and applies for the job there to be like the live-in chef, if you will. And the people who live in this lodge are really weird. All of them are really weird in one way or another, and it's done both through animation and through voice and through the art style that's done for them. Like one of the guys, he's like a salary man, but he's unemployed and a bum, but he wears his suit all the time, and his art style is fundamentally different from everyone else's art style. He looks like a caricature almost.
Okay, so he's a salary man, sort of like how Gantz had the Green Onion Man.
Yeah, but no.
Oh my
like,
God, no.
Why
would you remind me of that?
Don't even touch my green onions. But yeah, like it's weird. Like they all mesh because they've used the same color palettes and arts, around them, but they're all a little bit different. So you've got him. You've got there's like a girl who wants to be an idol. There's a student. There's an old guy, and then there's the lady who's running it, who's around the same age as him, and she's meant to be real pretty. She's got this white fluffy dog which is angry at everything.
Relatable.
But it's kind of like the advert was put up, and then like the rest of the tenants were like, we can't afford to pay him, and it's like he's meant to be like providing food, breakfast every morning using the kitty, and then he gets to stay for free, sort of thing, so he can live there, earn and work all in one lovely package. And he immediately is quite interested in the lady who's the landlord, who's around the same age as him, and it's kind of hinted all through like the artwork, the theme, that she's an alien.
Ooh.
And it's all but confirmed at the end of the first episode. Like she's an alien. And the second episode kicks off and you're like, oh yeah, she's definitely an alien. Like, and it's not like she looks very different. It's just that she is from space. She's come to Earth and she's looking for something. And the dog is her companion and it can stand on its hind legs and talk. Yeah. So they're looking for a key, which has apparently been left at this lodge, and that key is important to their empire somewhere. And yeah, it's really kind of like odd. And there were a few things, especially in episode 1, which like just make you go, hang on, what? Like they have a celebration for everyone, like he's joined the house, yay! And there's just a shadow standing in the kitchen behind them. I'm sitting there going, there's another housemate we haven't met, and they're like, they stay inside and they don't talk to anyone, and that's who that is. There's no ghosts. We've got aliens, we can't have ghosts as well unless it's the dun, because then it is aliens and ghosts together and it's hilarious. But yeah, look, I don't know if I could say watch it, but it's definitely unique.
Try it.
It's if you're looking for something kind of odd, something different that we don't see a lot of style-wise and feel-wise, this kind of ticks that box. It's very much like, it's got the vibe of like Urusei Yatsura or not Ranma, the other one with the cat girl, the Tenchi-Myo.
Oh yeah. Oh my God,
it's got elements to that where it's like, it's the interplanetary love without the as in your face gag comedy. That's probably the easiest way to explain it.
But gag comedy's the best.
It is. It is. But yeah, if you've been reading or watching something interesting and you've really enjoyed it, drop us a comment on YouTube or on our socials, and we'll mention it.
And obligatory for Kenny, who's not here, Kenny will fight you in the comments.
Yes, he will. He will always fight you in the comments. And with that, it's time we get on to our main topic.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
I think I watched that as a kid.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Back Catalogue.
Alrighty. Gurren Lagann, 2007.
Who the hell do you think we are?
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
Well, yeah.
whoa. 2000. Hold on a sec.
Yeah. 17 years.
The movies were 08 and 09.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
08 and 09.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Terry's having an existential crisis.
Slightly. Slightly.
Second movie came out when I became a dad.
Hold on.
You were a baby.
I was roughly between the ages of 15 and 17.
Yeah.
Roughly. No, wait, pause. I was roughly between the ages of, 5, then add an extra 5, because I'm a dum-dum, then add an extra 5, then 2. I was between 12, and I was 12, or between 12 and 15, when
Yeah, I
those
was
would
gonna
have come around.
'cause-
Sorry, time. It's 2024 at the moment. I'm still trying to...
Yeah, I know. Past
Oh,
that.
man.
Yeah. Tell me about it. So this was produced by Gainax right then. The rights have now transferred over to Studio Trigger as of 2021, along with all the other work that was directed by Hiroyuki Amaishi. He previously did animation work for Neon Genesis Evangelion, and then he was like, I want to make a big mecha show. So, if you haven't heard the wonders of Tengen Toppan and Gurren Lagann, which will pierce the heavens, here is, in a nutshell, the synopsis. So, the Simone and Shimon and Kamina, they were born and raised in a deep underground village hidden from the surface. Kamina is a free-spirited, loose cannon bent on making a name for himself, while Simone is a timid young boy with no real aspirations. And one day, while they were digging around and excavating the earth, Simone stumbles upon a mysterious object that turns out to be the ignition key to an ancient artifact of war, which the duo dub Lagann. It is a big head.
Just a big old face.
Big old face.
With arms.
With a seat in it that you
Tiny
can
little
ride.
arms. Tiny little legs.
So, using the new weapon, Simone and Kamina fend off a surprise attack from the surface with the help of Yoko Littner, a hot-blooded redheaded wielding a massive gun who wanders the world above. Now, in the aftermath of this battle, the sky is now in plain view, much to the surprise of all the dwellers underground, prompting Simone and Kamina to set off on a journey alongside Yoko to explore the wastelands of the surface, and they soon begin their fight against the Beastmen, humanoid creatures who terrorize the remnants of humanity in powerful robots called gunmen.
I have a question.
Yes.
What kind of Beastman was Viral?
What kind of... Oh, no, I don't know.
Because I was watching it and I was like, I've got a theory, but there's no like concrete anything.
I know.
I want to say he's a weasel.
I mean, that would kind of check.
It does, because like his hands feel very weaselly.
What about a honey badger?
Honey badger? Yeah, I feel he's too light.
Too
Yeah,
light.
he'd have like longer claws if he was a honey badger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, has any? I'm assuming
Google
you
it,
Googled
Google it.
Yeah, okay. Viral Gurren Lagann.
Keep forgetting we have technology.
I mean,
Can we just get this out of the way straight away? The best part of animation in this show is Kamina's fight against Viral, where he just forever draws out like the sword goes forever, and like you're like, okay, it's got to end here, right? And he just keeps going the entire screen.
Pretty sure Sephiroth sneezed at that.
Oh man,
wow. He is a shark type beast man.
Shark?
With feline genetics rolled in.
Shark cat?
cat shark.
Cat shark.
Cat shark. He's more
Kitty
humanoid.
Shark doo 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 kitty shark doo 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 doo.
So his appearance is more humanoid than others, except for his cat-like eyes, shark-like teeth, and large clawed paws in place of conventional human hands. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, but animes have those shark teeth for like a lot of characters.
I know, right?
Like even the armadillo guy kind of had those teeth.
Fire Force, the main protagonist.
Yeah.
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 Which is a
Kirishima, my
prequel to
hero.
Souls.
But like, Yeah, no, it's
You're like,
I
I'm
had my
frustrated.
money on Weasel.
You know,
I mean, Weasel's a good bet.
It makes sense.
Right.
It does make sense.
Now, this was written by Ken Ishikawa, who I want to bring up for a very, very specific reason.
Kenny? Shigawa?
No. So, Gurren Lagann is apparently considered a tribute to Getter Robo.
Oh.
Its creator, Ken Ishikawa, who passed away unexpectedly in 2006, 5 months prior to the series' release. The lead writer of Gurren Lagann, Kazuki Nakashima, was the editor for Getter Robo Saga, the manga, and has referenced to himself as the #1 fan of Ishikawa's works, along with the series also taking on some of Getter Robo's concepts, such as the question of whether humanity's evolution will cause them to destroy the universe.
It does explain Gurren Lagann's design, especially when it gets the wing backpack.
Yes.
Because that's very Getter Robo.
It gets better. In fact, Gurren Lagann appears in the Japanese massive multiplayer game Super Robot Wars, where it's treated as an honorary entry in the Getter Robo list. And when they do the holy mecha trinity of Mazinga, Getter, and Gundam, you can sub Gurren Lagann in place of Getter. So it more than, if anything, it's like straight up, yeah, okay, right.
Yeah. No, this is it.
So, yeah, there you go, Getter Robo, which makes me now want to go read the Getter Robo series, because apparently, particularly towards the end of the series, the scale of everything becomes absurd, with the robots steadily becoming bigger and bigger, much like Getter Robo, and specifically the manga version, Getter Robo Go. So, which was the fifth outing of it. So, there you go.
Well, there's a lot of references to Getter Robo in other animes, like D. Greyman, Comlin the 4th, I think it is.
Yeah.
One of the Comlins. Spitting image. Goes through the whole transformation sequence as well. Like getting the backpack equipped, and I was like, this is Getter Robo. My mom was like, it's what a robo? I was like, no, hey, look, here, look at my phone. And they're like,
My phone, it's the same thing.
if you say so.
Now, all three of us watched this pretty early in its life. It's something that I think has shaped all of our views of anime, and especially with like, for me, Neon Genesis was one of the first big proper anime I watched outside of obviously the stuff that was made for syndicated TV, like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, and what was it? Little yellow robot guy? Metabots.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. But yeah, so I know, Aaron, you've watched the films.
Yes.
Terry, you've watched both recently.
Yes.
I've watched the series. I've never watched the films. Now,
I watched the series a long time ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I can't really...
I think I watched the series shortly after it was airing, because this was in the wild days of the early internet, where there were websites where you could just watch stuff.
Dude, I've got the box set of DVDs.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I guess we won't just talk about me. For each of us, I want to kind of talk about the impact the show had.
Oof.
So, I mean...
You start. We'll follow your lead.
Okay. I just feel like I'm indulging myself now.
No. You're showing us. You're leading the way so that we can follow up appropriately.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's just think about the time this was. This was 2007. At the time, we had a lot of magical girl shows coming out. I mean, there's always a lot of magical girl shows coming out, but that time there was a lot that were getting a lot of attention. Harui had ended, I believe. Melancholia of Harui Suzumiya, which was...
my God, yeah.
Yeah, just mental.
And Lucky Star had ended.
Yeah.
And
I had a very weird path to discovering Gurren Lagann. I went over to Melbourne to Manifest, which was their old anime convention there. And I found a figurine of Yoko. And I was like, she looks cool. Okay, all right, cool. Girl with a big gun. Art style looks very similar to Neon Genesis. It was put right next to that Masato figure up there, actually. And I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of like that. I'm going to get that. And the guy's like, oh, have you seen it? And I'm like, no. And he's like, it's airing at the moment. I'm like, it's what? And he's like, yeah, it's called Gurren Lagann. And I'm like, okay. And I went straight to an internet cafe.
Plugged into a 16 megabyte USB.
Downloaded. I was just like, I need to know what this is. And, 2007, it's a different time. I had a slide phone.
Oh, no, God.
The Matrix was cool.
What do you mean was?
Was.
Yeah, no. Have you seen the recent one?
No.
It's pretty bad.
Don't.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
If you liked The Matrix, don't.
Okay.
It retcons a lot of like good story elements from the old.
Oh, don't
one.
tell me that.
Yeah. So, look. Anyway, without going into that, so yeah, like, I was just obsessed, and I just started watching it, and then obviously went through the heartbreak and the loss, the successes, then the time skip, and then the escalation.
I don't think anyone, like, even watching it now, knowing it's coming, I'm never ready for it.
No.
It's too soon.
But the thing is, as well, is that had to happen.
Yes.
As annoying as it is, because
100%.
Simone is the main character, and that was the only way he was going to grow as a character.
Yep.
Because he had to become his own person.
It was throw him in the deep end, sink or swim, and he sunk for a bit.
He did. He really did. And then when you have a look at like the finale as well, like everyone forgets that there's trauma there too. We readily forget that because the first shock horror is one that sticks in our mind so fervently because of the character that it affects.
There's nobody who doesn't love Kamina.
That's also true.
You're correct.
Yeah.
Like, everybody just, you meet him, you love him.
Yeah. He's just bonkers. And that's why they made Promare, just to resurrect him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alternate universe Kamina.
Yeah, just to create another story with Kamina in it. Like, come on.
Look, it's a great design.
It is. It is a great character design. But yeah, so for me, that kind of like, I think, no surprise here, but being a child of the 80s and 90s, I have problems.
I think that's one of the prerequisites for being on the show.
Yes. And then I watched Neon Genesis at 13, which reinforced that, yes, Kyle, you have depression.
Oh, that's a bad mix.
Yeah.
Teenager hormones and Neon Genesis.
Right?
Double whammy.
But look, I mean, I'm fine with it. You know, I live with it. It's part of who I am. It's been my identity for 30 odd years. However old I am.
It's been part of my identity for redacted.
But there was something about the way that Gainax and its writers at the time approached these types of stories, where they gave you a glimmer of hope and showed that even in the darkness, there is a glimmer of hope always. There is always a way out. And that way out might not be as obvious as you think. And it's never as hard as the alternative.
It's never easy, but it's always worth it.
Exactly. And that, for me, that was like a big deal. Like, I was in university, was kind of lost on what I was going to do. I was like, I'm going to be a journalist. And I'm like, I hate this. And then I was like, I'm going to go do all these other things. And then went, I should be a journalist. And then I did the journalist and went, I'm done with that.
You went on your side quest missions.
My whole life is a side quest, man.
Completionist route.
Exactly. At least this is like, a good side quest. It keeps going. Yeah, new content always. But yeah, for me, Gurren Lagann really stuck out because of the whole, you don't have to necessarily believe in yourself, but you can believe in the others who believe in you. And that, as a kid with depression, that stuck.
Well, it takes a little bit to work through that message because at first it just sounds like nonsense.
It does.
But then once you grasp it, it changes the way you look at things.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Terry's like, yep, I had a moment.
There's so many
You
moments
got
in
tissues? Someone's starting to tear up.
I mean, like, oh my God. There's one scene that I'll talk about it when I get into it, but like, there was one scene for me when I was watching the movies, because after seeing the series and the movies, while they're very similar, there are certain things that they do slightly change, especially with some of the fight scenes, especially the ending is really, really good. Really good. When they kick in with the Soriro days, I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
so
That
good.
starts playing and you get the goosebumps.
Oh God, yes. There was, so a lot of the time when a lot of people watch Gurren Lagann, you naturally think, obviously, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched it yet, but go ahead and pause this now. Yeah, so the death of Kamina, it affects everyone. Everyone.
Yeah.
No one sees it coming.
No.
And one of the things I think was quite jarring for myself was, at that time, a lot of anime didn't really do that, because when a character died, naturally, at some random point, they come back.
Which he kind of did. So we're like, he's okay.
To a degree?
Well, like, when you're watching it, you're like, oh, he's not really dead. He's okay. He's going to work through it.
Yeah. But what made it worse was that, you see him get absolutely donut.
Yeah.
Id.
Yep.
And you think, okay, that's it. But then he gets back up and he gives this absolute banger of a motivational speech to Simone. And it's the last time he said one last mission, let's combine. And that is...
Yeah.
But now, that's not what I'm talking about. That is not the scene. There was only one specific scene that made me cry, and it's probably one that isn't that impactful for many people. And what it was Yoko Littner herself. And that was when they had finally taken the Daiguren from the
city?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. The
Beastman.
first general.
So the first general of the
Oh, yeah,
Beastman,
yeah.
yes. So when they finally took that, Adine, the one that they were fighting with the scorpion tail.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes. In the movie, the very first one, as she's fighting and Simon finally gets his gumption back, and it's pretty much saying, my brother my Aniki is still here inside with me, and like giving that really great speech. It pans over to Yoko, who's been fighting Adine and having a bit of a losing battle. But as it happens, she basically gets a one-up on her by stabbing her tail and having this secret weapon, this secret gun in her hair, which is pretty cool. And as she fires at her, she says one of the most impactful things I've probably ever heard in my life. Because Adine is saying that we refuse to give up this Daiguren that's been gifted to the general by Lord Genome himself. And she said, and I quote, this is, as I refuse to give you the home that we worked so hard for, where he died on here.
Yeah.
And that hits so hard because, as we all know, we've been following Simone and his grieving process when he lost his brother.
But we haven't been following Yoko's.
No. And when she said that, I was just like...
Yeah.
Well, we got to see part of her grieving process when she was in the room with Shimon and Nia, and she lashes out at Nia.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
yes.
you forget that she's suffering as well because she didn't get that kiss back 10 times.
You mean the kiss of death?
Yeah. Oh, Kitan.
Yeah, it's a running joke. But that was one of the more impactful scenes. And then, it's interesting because I ended up watching Gurren Lagann when I think I've probably seen maybe episodes 3 and 4 because at the time when it was localized in America, it had it on a random TV network. I can't remember what it was, but it only showed maybe 1 to 2 episodes at a time per month or per week. And it was when I got to see who Kamina was, and I was like, oh, well, I'll never see this again. Fast forward, age 17, 18, finally can go and watch anime like I want to, finally have the money to do so. And I was like, what was that one that I watched? And I remember typing, I was like, kid, drill, anime, blue-haired guy, and random.
That's it.
Yeah. And then random 4chan boards just having different names and whatnot, and I just kept typing it until I eventually found it.
Yeah.
And so that's when then I started streaming it. I think this website's no longer there anymore, but it was a third-party streaming website that was showing it. And then I realized they actually had the movies as well. So I ended up watching everything and then the movies next. So honestly, within a span of about 3 days, I just went, pow, I binged it.
It's one of those shows you can do that.
God, yes.
Very easily.
And it's one of the ones that I can say has definitely left quite an impact on my character because I know that life is hard. We're always going to have some of those rough, tough battles, and you're going to sit there and you're going to think to yourself, what is the point? Because trying to push and persevere in points where you know for a fact that it's a losing battle. The cards are against you. You're playing with a losing hand, but you still keep going. And Kamina is one of the characters, along with Simone. As we see him grow up, that 7-year time skip, you see him progress into this man, because it's not just him that's going through this. You as the viewer that's watching it, you're going through everything. You're going through the beginning, the grieving, the growing up, the learning. You're going through it with them, and it's one of the very few anime where I have felt like I actually traveled with these characters and I've grown as a person, and I stick by that. So it's definitely one of the ones where I say it is an anime where if you feel as though you're a bit lost, and this is just my own personal opinion, if you're feeling a bit lost and you don't know that you're doing enough, please, Gurren Lagann is a really good one to remind yourself that you are not alone, and that you, and even if you don't think it, you got people on the sidelines cheering for you to keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's good.
For sure.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, how did it hurt you?
Ouch.
Show us on the emotionals chart where it hurt you.
Yes. You guys have covered a lot of it, and there's just you start off with it and you grow attached to the characters. They are real. Like, there's just that depth to them that makes them feel like they are people you know.
Yeah.
And even when you're introduced to a wider range of the cast, like the black siblings, Dayaka, Kitan, the everyone else, the twins, the samurai guy, the monkey guy, the whole cast of them.
Yeah.
The crazy guy in the ship that likes firing missiles.
Oh yeah, him. Oh yeah, him. Oh yeah, him.
Yeah, you just describe the characters and you immediately get a mental image.
Yeah.
Even if it's been so long, you can just be like, oh yeah, you remember that one random guy? Like the chef with the whiskers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, like you just mentioned them and you're like, oh yes, I remember them. They're in here.
Yeah.
They're part of me.
Yeah.
And like, it's beautiful that a show can create that.
It's like this is one of the things that everything that's come out of Gainax and from the studios that branched out from it, most of these original stories have so much staying power inside both your head and your heart. And Gurren Lagann is probably one of the finest examples of that.
Oh heck yes.
100%.
Yeah.
And like, it's helped me understand that everybody needs a Kamina in their life. And sometimes you could be the Shimon. That's okay. You're allowed to have those moments when you struggle. But if you see someone struggling, it's so easy just to help them lift up their chin, tell them to grit their teeth, and absolutely sock them in the face.
Wait. I feel like
I kid. But like the whole don't believe in yourself because you doubt yourself constantly. Believe in me who believes in you. That changes it because then they go, oh, my friend wouldn't lie to me and my friend believes that I can do this.
Yeah.
And if they believe I can do it, why am I doubting myself? And that, like, every time someone's down, I'm like, you need to watch Gurren Lagann. You need to understand that you can be so much more. It almost sounds like a religious experience. I mean, have you heard of our Lord and Savior Kamina? He died for our sins.
Spiral.
we don't believe in
Actually,
that
yeah.
anti-spiral biblical stuff right here.
Didn't he die on a cross?
You should bring it with you.
Oh man, I would love just a drill core necklace.
I know, right?
Oh man, every
I think
time
we
I
might
see
have to
them, I'm
Google
like,
it.
Yes.
Amy has them.
Ooh.
They might be sold out,
And
but
they'll be
like they keep
genuine.
bringing them out. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just, it comes to you when you're in a bad place. And whenever somebody asks me for an anime recommendation, even if they're in a good place, I'm like, this is what I believe to be the core of anime. Like, if you're going to watch an anime, if you want a recommendation that, from my heart, I 100% believe everyone will enjoy, it is this one show.
Yeah. And there are very few shows you can say that about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like, you can't just pick up any random show and be like, hey, yeah, watch this.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, not really my thing. And, like, even if people don't like giant robots punching each other,
Yeah.
there's so much more to it.
But the other thing as well is that part of the reason the giant robots don't seem like robots while they seem like people is because one of the actual directions they had from the character designer was to actually draw them as organic.
Oh, okay.
Really?
As if they were people. And that would make it easier for them to draw them as opposed to, you know, Gundam-style robots, which require those harsh, solid lines all the
plates
time.
and- yeah.
And they said, no, make them organic. Make them feel like you're a part of the robot when you're inside of it, not just a shell. And that, you know, you can see that.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the rules with it are quite flexible. Like, there's not going to be a default screen inbuilt with Kamina's face with a circle and a line through it.
Right?
Like, that's...
Or like when it's like, insert food.
Or like the barfing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's very much... they sort of made them feel alive in their own aspects.
Yeah. Now, I've got some fun facts.
With Kyle?
Before we get all emotional again. So, Imashi had finished writing the main storyline long before they reached the end of this actual series, which is very rare these days. And that facilitated the staff in making the episodes. And according to the Gainax president, Hiroyuki Yamaga, the series was in the planning phase for a long time, and animation producer Yasuhiro Takeda used the time to research how characters would live underground, and they had a bucket load of stuff on this. And then they spent one episode underground.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it kind of very quickly moved away from that initial idea. But then even though the aspect was only used briefly, it did help kind of ground them in the world to give them an idea of what the characters would behave like if they'd come from that environment. So you know,
It looked very much like, what was it, ants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you
That's
know,
with a Z.
Yeah.
Or if you're
yeah.
American, Z.
Oh, ha ha. Very funny.
Hey, look, you get off the plane and come to our country, we're going to take jabs.
Okay, look, it's not my fault you guys spell tire wrong. Tyre. It's Tire.
Yeah, that's if you're sleepy.
I will chuck this book.
There's two different types of tire.
See, it's kind of funny because there are a few words, and we're going completely on a tangent. there are a few words between American English and UK English, and Australia's kind of derivative of both, where the words are the same length and it doesn't make any sense for you to change the spelling. But then colour, for instance, the US spells it without a U, and that's because when you were writing stuff for the newspaper, you charged per letter, so they cut out letters they didn't need.
Yeah.
And didn't believe they needed.
Which was usually you.
Yeah. So capitalism shaped American English. There you go.
That checks out.
We do not like Grandpa Britain.
No. You burnt all and sunk all that tea.
We were going through a phase, okay?
They made all that tea so salty, and they're like, I could go for some sweet tea.
Hey, at least we use spice.
Do you?
Look,
I do. Well, I do.
look.
Yeah, but you...
I'm not going to disagree that most British dishes are on a scale of beige.
That's being generous. Being very generous.
But it's like, has it been boiled or steamed? No, we don't want it.
Don't be talking about the best kind of spice is just a pinch, a literal dash of salt.
Oh no, the singular grain.
The singular grain.
Singular grain.
Salt Bay, but with no spice.
Oh, this hurts me.
Oh, it hurt me.
Anyway, before we go ragging on anyone else.
Oh, but it's so fun.
So, Imaishi, director, also wanted the series to only have robots, and the robots were made organic, so they would be easier to animate. However, animating episode 15, which marks the end of the Beastman War arc with the major fight at the city, and, you know, features many mechas and bombastic events, was challenging the staff due to the number of shots required, the insane amount of robots that had to be designed for it. So animator Sushio, who was one of the main team at the time, called himself the super animator for his work on that episode, and I can't disagree with that.
It's beautiful.
It is. It's incredibly well done. Now, we have to talk controversies because that is, you know, what we normally do in the
spicy
news.
time.
But there were 3 sort of controversies around the series. Firstly, the ending. We'll get that out the way first because this is the simplest one. So the ending was written to finalize Simone's growth and not leave signs for a sequel because they wanted to end it there and then. That apparently annoyed some of the organizations which funded the series because they wanted to make it a franchise, including Bunko.
Yeah, but you can't go
Sorry,
from
Bandai.
there.
Yeah. You can't.
It's done.
yeah.
Spirals are gone.
Yeah, exactly. The series finale obviously had its tragic events planned from the outset. So from episode 1, they knew all these characters, who was going to die and what order and so on, and what their role would be in the series. And while the staff acknowledged people were not satisfied with the sad conclusion, they noted that there were elements to the story that if they changed them to make that alternative ending, it wouldn't have made it as impactful of a series.
Oh,
and I
100%.
can't disagree. Okay. Episode 6, which in most long-running animes is the hot tub / fan service / beach episode.
I knew it was this one.
Yep.
Here we go.
So, as a result of the series actually airing in a child-friendly time slot, which is rare for anime in Japan, I would like it noted, the staff members had problems with episode 6. Although that episode had a subplot involving peeking into women's bath, the TV stations thought it was going to be fine. And when reading the script, and they went, yeah, go ahead, animate it. So, Gainax went, okay, they've given us the go-ahead, we'll animate it. They showed them the finished episode. Nah. So they said, apparently it was just one station in particular, and we're willing to bet it was one of the large ones in Tokyo, said that it could not be aired, and then they had to revise that version of the episode So I would love to see the original cut because clearly they finished it. It was produced.
Yeah.
So,
It's somewhere in the archives.
yeah, I mean, I wonder if just the Blu-ray version is that version as opposed to the version that aired on TV. Because it's been that long, it's hard to remember the differences. And it would only be minor differences. All right, here's the biggest controversy. The Takami Akai, an animation producer of the series and a co-founder of Gainax, announced he would be resigning his position effective episode 5, which aired on April 29, 2007, over comments he made regarding posts on the Japanese text board 2channel, also known as 2CH. This is not to be confused with 2chan, which is image sharing.
Right.
Names have a similar heritage. It's to do with channel. Akai and another Gainax employee, Keiko Mimori, made disparaging remarks about comments criticizing the animation style of the 4th episode of Gurren Lagann, which I was sending you pictures of last night.
Potato eyes.
Potato art. It kind of, the art style drops significantly in episode 4. It's not because of animation budget, and I found out this while doing the research, because it was completely directed and animated by guest and friend Osamu Kobayashi. He has done a lot of stuff. He passed away in 2019. He's written episodes for a lot of different shows. He was quite respected in the industry. So with regards to reading the fan criticism of saying that the episode wasn't up to snuff, Akai stated that it was like, and I am quoting directly here, like putting his face next to an anus and breathing deeply. That was his response to people's criticism of the episode. Obviously, fans did not take well to that. They later became aware of his comments, and he announced his departure from the company he helped found. So
I can kind of understand where he's coming from, because these people have no accreditation in animation, no skills.
Yeah.
Like, if they want it done better, they should go do it themselves.
yeah,
But they're out there ripping a professional
yeah,
as one of his friends.
yeah. So it caused a fair bit of controversy at the time. Obviously, not many people will remember it now, and I'm pretty sure Akai ended up going off to do other stuff as well. So I think he actually ended up founding another studio or something similar.
Oh, really?
Because most of these people who founded Gainax were students at the time Gainax was established, university students, albeit. But it's basically started out from a university club. So it's they've done it once, they can do it again.
Yeah, true.
Fart sniffing studios.
I'm sure I have more stuff here somewhere. I always forget. Oh, awards. Gurren Lagann's won a fair few.
Of course.
So, as you'd expect. So it received widespread critical acclaim since its release, and received an Excellence Prize in 2007 at the Japan Media Arts Festival. Director Hiroyuki Imashi received an individual award for Personal Best at the 12th Animation Kobe Festival, same year. And in 2008, the year after, during the 7th Annual Tokyo Anime Awards, apparently held at the Tokyo International Anime Fair. Isn't that like one of like the major festivals?
Pretty sure.
Like
I think so.
one of the major like Communique type things. Yeah. Gurren Lagann won the Best TV Production Award, in addition to the Best Character Design Award given to character designer Atsushi Nishigori for his work on the show. So as of 2021, alongside anything Imashi did during his time at Gainax, those rights are now all owned by Studio Trigger. So, and that was Studio Trigger was only formed in 2011. So,
Oh, wow.
I know, right? So yeah, go watch it. Like, I know we say that a lot, but
this is like peak anime.
yeah, this is like, you might not be into robots, but you're surely into the story of a hero, of learning to be the hero, of learning about yourself, about
The
learning about
reluctant
those about
hero.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, the reluctant hero's journey. I mean, because of Neon Genesis and Shinji's story is the traditional 3 arcs of the reluctant hero's journey. Same sort of thing here with Simone, and it rings true for a lot of us. So
I will say this. One of the things I definitely will say around that is that a lot of people tend to shy away from certain anime that are based around mechas. And that's only because the preconceived notion might be around like, oh, it's like Mobile Suit Gundam. It might be just, it's immediately just the robots are the main thing. And it's like, well, no. For example, my partner, I had her watch Code Geass. She's never seen it before, but she shied away from it because she was like, oh, it's just, all I see is mechas about this. And I'm like, if you have seen Gurren Lagann, you like it, you will like Code Geass.
if you've seen Death Note,
Yes.
you will like Code Geass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I agree. I think we all agree, please watch it.
Yeah.
Watch Gurren Lagann, like, today.
As soon as possible within your schedule.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Let them pierce the heavens instead.
Here's the heavens.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Tonight on Anime Communique.
Great story, compelling and rich.
Nothing brings ratings up like a little controversy.
Oh yeah, let's start with a controversy. We always do.
Oh, buddy boy.
All right. According to Hideaki Anno, the creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion, there may be plans for more Evangelion, but it would be helmed by someone other than himself. Now, he has said this, kind of alluded to it in the past, that he's, there may be plans, but he's not involved. And it makes you wonder what they could be doing with it. Because they did release a couple of little bit of extra bits when the fourth film went back to cinemas. They brought out a little manga which was called like Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 minus 24 and minus 48. No, Evangelion 3.0 minus 24 minus 48. And it's what happened 24 hours before the film starts and 48 hours before in that time skip. And apparently there might be something happening in that period which we don't have anything info about.
Can we also just get the Shin crossover? I want to see them all come together and fight something like a black hole. Tell me, what else could stop them? There's no other threats big enough for that.
Fair point.
I vote Space Battleship Yamato could fight them. Make it a mech.
Mech fight.
And it can merge with a train of some form.
Shinkalion.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's the
we've already done that, buddy.
There's the train Evangelion. It's like a transformer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? No, wait, whoa. Okay, look, I know we're getting into something. No, pause. What?
Shinkan Galleon. Is in Shinkansen.
All right, writing that down.
I think it's a model kit. I don't know.
It's just a model kit.
Yeah. But
Terry's regretting being on the show and coming all the way down here for this. Come all the way to Australia and tell me to watch all these things.
Here we go again. Out back and drop bears. And
Oh yeah, you've been like keeping Vegemite behind your ears, right?
What?
Don't do that, folks. You'll just smell. And it actually attracts flies. So
yeah. Have you had your quokka selfie yet?
Mark, what now? Whoa.
Quokkas, the teeny tiny marsupials we have on Rottnest Island.
Oh, yes. I actually know. I got to interact with one. Well, actually, a couple.
Get the selfie?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. No, it's part of the indoctrination.
Well,
if you aren't aware, Perth has these beautiful tiny little animals that are marsupials. And they're called quokkas, and they're the happiest animal on the planet, apparently, because they always look like they're smiling, and they're riddled with disease.
Chlamydia, specifically.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
So are koalas.
Yeah, don't touch them.
I'm glad I did not. Very glad.
But they're beautiful and cute.
Salmonella as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Their fur has salmonella.
It's probably to prevent other predators eating them.
There are no other predators, though.
Wait, don't they like...
Not anymore. They used to be on the mainland.
Yes, but like...
Was it... What was
they
this?
don't throw their young.
Okay, because someone told me that.
No, that's a myth.
Okay. I can't tell anymore when an Aussie tells me something. The poker face is so... No, you don't understand.
I know, I've heard.
Jesus.
Because I've done it.
I know you have.
Anyway.
You guys get guns, we get poker face.
We beat you at all Texas Hold'em, even though it's not our game. It's just... So anyway, Hideaki Anno may be more on Genesis. It would be held by someone other than himself at this stage. And when we talked to Oscar's English voice actor, she was saying the same sort of thing. She's like, I don't think Anno's done. Like he might have some other ideas for things. He might not want to be directly involved because to him the project's done, but he still has ideas. So whether someone else within his studio handles it, we'll have to see. Alrighty, let's talk awards, because it has been the 48th annual Kodansha Manga Awards, where they every year award their own manga awards.
Pat yourself on the back.
That's how it works.
It's the Sony Game Awards.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
Spider-Man wins. What's that? Baldur's Gate 1 Game of the Year? No, we have our own Game Awards and Spider-Man wins.
You would love Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
So the reason we talk about these is because every year, even if the winner's already known, like in this case, it's very obvious. Like everyone knows Furuya Beyond Journey's End if you're watching the current anime seasons or anywhere in the zeitgeist, because it's everywhere. It's hard to escape. And if you have avoided it, check out Furuya. It's amazing.
If you've avoided it, don't.
Yeah, basically. So Furuya won the Best Shonen Manga. It was also nominated in 2022. However, you then have a look at who else was on the nominee list. And these are often manga which have been very popular in the bookstores in Japan. They've had high sale numbers or a lot of talk around them. So in this case, we've got the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, Gachiakuta, Tank Chair, I don't know, and Daemons of the Shadow Realm. Now, according to this, I've apparently clicked on that in the past. Daemons of the Shadow Realm, stylistically, looks like Astro Boy.
Huh.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
oh, wow.
Oh, jeez.
It's very much taken off from the Tezuka art style.
That kind of looks more like Full Metal.
Yeah, FMA.
Full Metal as well, yeah, because it kind of
that looks like
Reza. Yeah. But yeah, you've got that.
So you've clicked on that before, sort of like how you've clicked on the Dementia links before?
Yes.
What?
Tank Chair looks like it should be something that's
in Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what Gachiakutu is, but it says it is Baikudansha. that's the only information.
Is that literally it?
Yeah. It started in 2022 as action. Art style looks a little bit bombastic, but it's kind of hard to tell because they're small. Actually, kind of looks a little bit Solar Eatery.
Kind of does a bit.
Elements of it, not the same, but there are elements of it.
There's something else there, and I can't put my finger on it.
Tagamibachi. It reminds me a lot of Tagamibachi.
It's got a little D-Gray Man.
A little bit,
Bit D-Gray Man, yeah. But yeah, so that's only got one volume. Then the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity.
It's BlazBlue.
BlazBlue. Yeah, that's what it is. Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity manga. It's been running since 2021. This looks like a classic sort of like shoujo romance. It looks really cute. But yeah, so like you see these and you can go through them and find the other ones. This year, best... so that was Best Shonen Manga. Best Shoujo, I See Your Face Turned Away. Best General Manga. Medalist, I don't know what this is. Looks weird. Other nominees included Oshinoko, The Darwin Incident, Chikawa, Nagato to Aoto Ichika no Ryochiro. Wow, that was a mouthful. And Byokyo Taro, which is, I think, Taro Lives at Home?
Oshinoko got awards, even though it's starting to...
Is that because of what's been happening recently within the manga?
Yeah.
We all just like synced. All right, so on the Patreon, guys, if you want to get the aftermath.
Oh man, the Patreon had us like hive-minded.
Yeah, just a bit. They used to also do Best Children's Manga Award as well, but they don't really do that now because they just roll into shonen and shoujo manga categories anyway because they're technically aimed at 15 and under. So, I mean, debatable, but last year Shangri-La Frontier won Best Shonen.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
That's
So-
tracks.
Oh, yeah.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Girlfriend's Child won Best Shoujo, and Skip and Loafer won Best General Manga. All like 2 out of those 3 have had a series that I'm aware of, and they are, for good reason, well loved. So yeah, look, I mean, it's always worth checking. You can go back through the previous years as well because some get re-nominated further on down the track because they're good. Let's talk on that note of good things. There is a new film coming from Studio Science Saru. Now, they did Keep Your Hands Off Aizuken, which we adore on the show, along with plenty of other recent ones.
Scott Pilgrim.
Yep. Which, the less we say about the better.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
No, we're not opening that can of worms. Not in this episode.
Not this episode. Now, this is kind of interesting because it's called The Colors Within, and the director is Yamada Naoko. They did K-On! the Heike story, and a silent voice.
Oh, wow.
So that's quite a diverse, set of stuff to be doing. It's very pretty. It's very sort of watercolor, harsh lines, almost like otherworldly look.
Oh, very sepia.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. The only info we have about it is kind of limited. Some of the people who are in it are voice actors, and others are comedians, and it's their first kind of role in the voice acting area. Let's see if we can find. The story centers on Totsuko, not toxic.
I was gonna say, wow, foreshadowing.
A high school girl who can see the colors of the emotions in people's hearts. She attends a mission school in Nagasaki. In order to keep her friends and family from dark feelings, she worries, reads situations, and even lies to smooth things over. At an antique bookstore in the corner of town, she meets a beautiful woman with an incredibly beautiful color and a music-loving boy trying to put together a band. The story follows these three people who gather together to play music. So it's going to be interesting. It could be amazing. It could be terrible. Like, you never know. Whenever it's a music show, it can kind of swerve in all over directions.
True.
Some are fantastic. Some kind of miss the mark. Some you're just like, I'm skipping the songs. It just depends on, if it hits the mark for you. Now, this film is going to have its premiere at the Annecy International Film Festival in June, which probably means then August, September for international release, August probably for Japan. There is a lot of people involved in this. So we did mention one of the people from K-On!, another person from K-On!, Yoshida Reiko. She also did Girls and Panzer, Ride Your Way, Violet Evergarden. They're penning the script. Ushio Kensuke, who did Space Dandy, A Silent Voice, Liz and the Bluebird, and Chainsaw Man, is composing the music.
Yes!
So that'll be good. Daisuke Richard is drafting the characters, and Kojima Takashi is designing the characters and also directing animation. So there's a lot of, as is kind of the case these days, there is a lot of people behind this who have good credentials. The fact that they're talking about K-On! And they're still in the industry 10 years on from that is, to me, suggests a good sign that these are people who are able to make stuff which is good. Also, Anime Limited has required the film for Europe, and apparently Charades, who I've not heard of before, will manage the sales for the rest of Europe, Latin America, Australia, and New Zealand as a distribution body. So, open in Japan on August 30. So, yeah, it was originally meant to open in 2023, but
yikes.
Something happened. Okay, this one's kind of probably a quick splash in the pan, but Eden Zero's ending in 5 chapters.
Nate.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I would like to also point out that I entered that final arc in December 2022, so it's been coming.
Oh, yeah.
So, people know.
Well, I mean, My Hero is kind of the same.
Yeah. My Hero is like, at any moment 2 or 3 episodes away from ending chapters, especially with this week's chapter. And on the note of that, Sakamoto Days. So if you haven't heard of Sakamoto Days, Taro Sakamoto was the ultimate assassin, feared by villains and admired by hitmen, but one day he fell in love. Retirement, marriage, fatherhood, and then Sakamoto gained weight. The chubby guy who runs the neighborhood store is actually a former legendary hitman. Can he protect his family from danger? Get ready to experience a new kind of action.
Hot.
It's getting a Netflix project. That is all that is said. We don't know what it's going to be. Now, I would presume, but I would presume it means that it's an animation project, and that's expected to release in 2024, but it doesn't specify. If it was live action, I think we would have seen a lot about it.
Oh, yeah.
They would have hyped it up.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this just means that they have been the global licensor for it and that they're not directly involved with Netflix Studios, because that's when things go awry.
A live action of that might be pretty good.
It's viable.
Because, ripping off the prosthetics and everything?
Yeah.
That would be dope.
That would be good. Yeah.
Also, if you haven't heard of Sakamoto, that's right, you haven't.
Don't threaten our audience. Bribe them with a good time on our Patreon. No. So we don't know exactly what the go is. One of the other things that was announced is that One Piece's second season is planned for Netflix
The live action?
Yep.
I was going to say, like,
2025 and beyond section. So we don't actually have a time frame.
They kind of did a casting call for it as well. And they opened that up.
I mean, considering the amount of CG and animation additionals that are required on top of that, like from filming, like they filmed it and then it took like another year.
Yeah.
And no offense to Tomorrow Studios, but you know, I've already got grievances with them and how they do their CG and their, you know.
Look, Luffy alone.
Yeah.
Luffy alone would be a nightmare to animate.
Yeah. But like, you know, they weren't good before and they've gotten better, but I imagine it's taken them a lot longer than like say a Marvel, a hired studio to do that.
But they've also got to hire finance.
Well, no, I know. But like obviously they're not trying to recreate like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy. And I've got a friend who worked for one of the animation studios that supported on Ant-Man, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
The original one. When they had, they were one of like 8 studios that were outsourced for the 3D. So, you know, it's not a small production.
Can we get Rocket Raccoon as Chopper?
Oh my god, yes?
Yes,
Can we?
yes,
Can we?
yes.
Look,
Patent it.
look, if they could get that sort of budget for Chopper, yes. If this is Netflix.
Okay, true.
Yeah, you've got to
true.
remember they're already blowing a lot of it on just Luffy.
Yeah.
Fair point.
And it's going to get weirder when we start getting more of the weird characters with weird abilities.
Oh, Mr. 3. And then Don, what's his name?
Oh, the
Don Flamingo?
No, the shapeshift dude.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
Bon.
God, the name escapes me.
Yeah.
It's Bond something.
Look, Frankie. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Frank.
yeah.
I just put a transformer.
I reckon Frankie you could probably do with practical effects.
You could, but I wouldn't trust them.
Yeah, but you saw like they put their own spin on the Fishman that worked.
It did. It really did work.
And I feel that would be the quicker, easier way to do Frankie.
I agree. I do wonder what they're going to do with Robin as far as her additional hands, because
That's
that's got to be
CG.
That's got to be
Yeah.
CG.
There ain't no other way about it.
No. But yeah, especially when like she does like the lotus flower of hands, you're like, what on earth am I seeing?
Oh yeah, that's baby stuff compared to later chapters.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with Rob Lucci.
Yeah.
Because that would be a
Oh, that's easy. We get some furries.
Don't you summon them? Because I'm right here.
They will come.
They will. Wait, you like as in the house?
They will arrive.
Okay.
PG.
Okay.
So, going to PG, actually. This is a great segue.
Yes.
Moving away from Netflix, Adult Swim on Toonami has announced the Rewind block is going to be airing on Fridays starting May 31st. That will be, I think, a couple of days before this episode goes out. The programming block is going to run every Friday, and it's going to include Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z Kai, and Naruto. The full lineup on May 31 starts at 5 p.m. I don't know which time zones this is, apologies, so I don't know if this is for East Coast, West Coast, or if they're going to syndicate it for each area. Sailor Moon at 5 p.m. with Viz Media's English dub. Then 5:30 and 6 o'clock is one episode each of Dragon Ball Z Kai, and 6:30 Naruto. Now, just keeping in mind how many episodes Naruto has, Naruto should have probably had the double feature.
Probably.
Oh yeah, especially in comparison to Kai.
Yeah.
But I feel like Kai would be the more popular one.
Oh yeah, especially considering with the passing of,
Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
Ow.
Naruto!
Sasuke!
That's the weeb version of Marco Polo, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Inuyasha Kokome.
No.
Oswani!
I'm sorry, you're not going far enough back. Tetsuo!
All anime can be derived back to two people yelling each other's names.
Pretty much. Yeah, actually.
I mean, yeah. It's well, look, when you consider how Japan feels about names, you don't necessarily let people call you by your first name.
True.
It's kind of an intimate thing. That it shows, similarity between each other. So,
Kyle.
Aaron. Terry.
I was expecting him to say his own name there, like the donkey thing. Donkey!
Good times. And that is the news, so we're going to wrap up.
Kawaii-Fi Radio.
Button wouldn't press, don't know why, it was bad.
Bad button.
Bad button. That's where we're going to leave things. Apparently, this room's getting too hot with 3 steamy men having a good time in it.
Let me just undo a button.
So, look, thank you so much for listening, and apologies. Next time, we're not quite sure. We are recording this one in advance because it was convenient to line up with Terry, so it was worked out very well. And on that note, we'd love to have you back when you're next in town. It's been a great time.
Oh, I've had nothing but a rip snort of a time, and actually, this has been a highlight for myself, just being able to be in this room with you guys to talk about.
Oh, no, you don't get to play that.
Why not? Why not?
Look at our subscriber numbers. Yeah.
I can't.
Whose privilege is it?
Okay, pause. No, wrong, incorrect. You stop that first and foremost.
You need to tell people where they can find you and what you do.
You do.
Hi, yes, you can find me at Kawaii-Fi on YouTube.
The audacity! Have we said you're part of the team yet? You are a guest! Remember your place.
Search YouTube for Dry Guy. You will find Terry. He has a back catalogue of amusing and silly voice acting, along with having been featured in several anime as well. We talked about this, I think, would have been about 2 years ago when you got that role in the Fireman show.
So Fire in His Fingertips, where I got to play one of the radio men that was on there in episode 1, I'm pretty sure. And then in the, you probably have seen it, girl drinks gasoline, turns into a car. Yeah, I was the gas station attendant. That was. I was in Henke's show, Joe. I'm so serious. So it's like if you want to look at my roles in like IMDb, you can search up Terrence Dry and you'll find everything. But like, yeah, that was an interesting one.
That's golden.
Is that the same one where the girl like drinks like coolant, turns into a jet as well?
Yes, it's like literally. So one of the outtakes I did. So fun fact, one of the outtakes I did for that, they were like, oh, yeah, they just kind of gave me like one line to read, but I made a post, and as she was drinking it, like from the gas tank itself, you just hear me in the background go, okay, but why though? I didn't think they'd keep that, but they did. It's on. I watched it on Amazon. I'm just like, oh no.
The amazing world of voice acting.
Yeah, right.
Now look, if you have enjoyed what you've heard, head over to Terry's channel, check out our channels as well, hit subscribe buttons, and join us for all the future episodes as well. If you're listening on YouTube, that big like button is calling your name. It has a juicy beverage of your favorite choice hidden behind it. You should press it. Now, if you have had an experience with Gurren Lagann, leave it in the comment section as well, because as we mentioned, it's an anime that's dear to pretty much the entire team. Kenny would have weighed in as well on it. He adored it as well. And we've got a hole in our heart and it's drill shaped.
Oh, you mean like Lord Genome?
Yes. Now, as previously mentioned, there is Patreon. We have the pre-show. We have pre-show video edition now for our higher tiers as well,
including tech issues.
Yeah. We had to change the camera halfway through the pre-show, and it's good it happened then, not the main episode, because it froze.
I actually wondered how long it was frozen for.
Well, we've got the voice, and I will put up a goofy...
Gomenosari.
Now that I've said this and you've said that, I'm literally thinking a really cheesy picture of Goofy with Gomenosari underneath. Killing Terry. But memberships start from $1 a month, and you can also follow us for access to the major show updates without paying a dime. If you aren't already, socials. They're a thing. We're on them.
See how many buttons you can press. It's fun.
Yeah. And that's it. That's where we're going to leave this episode. Terry, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate, and we'll definitely have you back whenever we can.
Oh, I will be back because you can't get rid of me now.
Excellent. He knows where I live.
It's okay. He's still another country away. We have to come visit you next.
Oh, true. That is true. Hope you like hot dogs.
I do.
Costco hot dogs.
Are we going to order 100 hot dogs?
Yes!
Oh boy, hot dog eating context. Here we go.
I am the Wiener King.
And on that bombshell, you've been listening to Kawaii-Fi Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time,
watch some anime! I am the wiener that will pierce your esophagus.